You're not a cat. This is Whiskey. He is adopted through Mayday, my favorite rescue here in LA. One of the things Whiskey doesn't like doing is he doesn't like people messing with his hair. So you see he's being a little persnickety. He was being more persnickety earlier. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can get your dog to like having its hair handled or touched, just with a little bit of counter conditioning and some positive reinforcement. So what I'm going to do is I have a pellet treat here. This is a soft chicken liver treat. The smell of the treat is the most important thing for the dog. And so these are soft and they're meat treats. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to smash it. I'm going to eat my spinach so I get stronger. So now it's flat like a pancake. See it like that. So now what I want to do is I want to get him used to chewing on it in little bits, rather than getting the whole thing all at once. And the nice thing about this is I can adjust where he looks by moving the treat. All right, so now what I'm going to do is, what we're trying to do is, you see he has amazing bangs, but we were doing a focus exercise. It was hard for us to see his eyes. And so his guardian was trying to put a rubber band on his hair up here, and he just wasn't liking it. And of course now he doesn't, of course now we're filming and he's not doing it, but he was biting at her hand when she was trying to do this. So what you want to do, even though he's not demonstrating the behavior, we'll show you the same way. No, I don't want to beg. So I'm going to let him start chewing this first, and then I'm going to gather up his hair. Now, when I have a dog that has a behavior problem, what I try to do is break down the activity into small individual steps. We tend to think of the whole activity all at once, but it's actually a whole lot of little steps that create the whole activity. You're over here, buddy. Let's lure you over here. Sit. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to smash this, and I just did this with a dog yesterday. It doesn't like having its paws touched. No, I'm sorry. It was when you reach for it, it would get up. So what I did is go like this, and I start reaching like this, back and forth. I'm not doing the final act. I'm just getting the dog used to something good happening as a hand is approaching my head. And that's the first step. The second step, and the first time you do is smash a couple treats, let him get used to chewing it without messing with him first. So once I get to this point, then I can go like this, and now I can be a little bit more. You see, he said that was a little bit much for him. He started to get up. Sit. So again, I'm not doing the final act. I'm just getting him used. He's like, hey, you're a weirdo, touching my forehead as you're giving me a treat. But we're creating that positive association. So now I can do this a little bit. He didn't like that sound outside. So now if you're doing this as a second person, you might have one person, that's kind of holding the hair, and then the other one is using their other hand to comb it over, twisting it into a little bit of a, faux hawk or whatever you want to do. He also doesn't like scissors. So you can do the same thing for scissors. I'm going to use this is actually going to be a little bonus part. This is what we call a conditional emotional response, or a CER. Whiskey, come here. Let's say these are scissors. He doesn't like scissors. Sit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one behind my back. I'm going to have him look at it, and then I'm going to drop a treat. And I pull it away. So I look at it, and let's see if he'll touch it with his nose now. That's pretty fast. For something he doesn't like, you're gonna have to do this more often. But at first, all he has to do is just turn and look at it, then it goes away, and then I drop a treat. So, and again, this is a version of what I was just talking about. I try to break things down into individual steps. In this case, we're breaking it down into individual senses. Looking at it gets me the treat, and then it goes away. I look at it, and then it goes away, and I get a treat. After you do this a couple times, then you want to hold it up, and then he has to lean a little bit towards it, and you need to take it away and give him the treat. And eventually make him touch it with his nose, and then you give him the treat. So he creates that positive association. Now for scissors, they make a sound when you go tss, tss, tss. So what I would do, come here, buddy, is I would get, again, smash the treat, snip, 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 snip here. So he's hearing it and he's seeing it, but it's not right here. This is kind of scary for dogs. So I keep on snipping it here while he's chewing on treats, and now we're creating a positive association. The snip, snip, snip is associated with me getting a treat, and then I get a little bit closer. Next time I get a little bit closer, a little bit closer. So by the time you're actually doing it, you've done it so many times and created a positive association. He doesn't mind having the scissors. Now when you first actually get to doing it, just make sure it's just a tiny little snip before you actually start snipping it. Dog groomers are like one of the most bit parts of the pet industry because they're grabbing the dog in weird places. Usually there's other dogs in the area that are barking. A lot of dogs don't ever get handled when they're a puppy. And so they're not familiar with that, and it seems very invasive. It's also kind of like going to the doctor. The doctor's typically touching us in places we would rather they don't touch us at. So breaking this activity down into small steps and helping create a positive association with each step before we, and for each of the individual steps before we actually do the whole version of it, is a great way to help your dog understand it. And if they don't like scissors or trimmers or things like that, you can use the conditional emotional response, or CER as it's referred to, until the dog eventually is touching it. And then if it's trimmers, I would do the same thing. I would give the dog a treat and turn the sound on. And then once the treat is done chewing, turn the sound off. So this time I'm not showing it, I'm using just an auditory cue of it. I have it behind my back, give him another treat, zzz, it gets done chewing, it turns off. And then eventually I give him one and I'm holding it here, zzz, and then zzz, and he's getting closer and closer until eventually it's right here, and you're trimming him, and he doesn't have a problem with it. I do this with a lot of dogs for collars or muzzles or leashes or things that they don't like. So, Westie, buddy. I would say they show everybody your eyes, but they can't see it because your bangs, but your bangs are impressive. This is Westie, and these are some tips and tricks on how you can use a conditional emotional response, or a CER, as well as breaking things down into individual steps to help a dog get over phobias like having their hair handled or trimmers or whatever the case may be.